Oh, how often we cry out, "Lord, I'm tired. Lord, I've done all I can. Is it worth it?" But I came to tell you something today, not from a place of theory, not from books or borrowed wisdom, but from a knowing that goes deeper than pain, deeper than defeat. There is glory in the grind. Get up and grind, not because it's easy, not because the world is cheering for you, but because you were chosen for this. Let me tell you something. Destiny does not come wrapped in comfort. Oh, no. It comes hidden in early mornings, in lonely tears, in moments when no one sees you. But he sees you, yes, the God of the universe, he who hung the stars, he who called the oceans into place. He sees you when you rise before the sun. He sees you when you press on, broken but still moving, and he whispers, "Keep going, I'm with you." Oh, if you only knew, the very place where you feel the weakest, that's the very place he wants to show his strength. That job that wears you out, that dream that's taking too long, that assignment that seems impossible, that's where miracles are born. You may say, "But I'm just one person, I have no strength left." Then perfect, because when you have no strength left, his strength begins. You don't grind because of applause. You don't rise because of followers or fame. You get up because your calling won't let you stay down. You've got something inside you that the world didn't give. And the world can't take away. You were never meant to blend in. You were born to burn bright, and I don't mean with popularity. I mean with purpose. Every morning you rise, every time you wipe your tears and try again. Heaven watches. And angels lean in and say, "Look at that one, still standing." There is a fire coming to those who refuse to quit, a reward for those who grind in the shadows, for those who keep showing up when the doors keep shutting. Don't stop now, don't quit now, don't lie down in defeat, get up and grind, because on the other side of this grind is the glory, and when the day comes and they ask you, "How did you make it?" you'll look up and say, "I just got up and I kept going, one more time, one more day, one more prayer, one more step. Get up and grind, for the calling is holy, the work is sacred, and the one who called you is faithful. Divine purpose precedes the pain." Long before the heartbreak, the loneliness, the struggle, even before you felt the weight of what you carry, there was a purpose written over your life. You were not an afterthought. You were not a coincidence. The pain you're walking through did not catch heaven by surprise. Before the tears fell from your eyes, the assignment had already been declared. There is something holy about the path that presses you, something sacred about the weight you bear. Pain, in the hands of God, is never wasted. It carves, it refines, it prepares. It digs deep into the parts of you that comfort could never reach, and what feels like breaking is often building. What feels like loss is often planting, and what feels like delay is divine alignment. You may be asking, why this, why me? But the question is not why, the question is what is being formed in you through this. Because purpose does not come wrapped in ease. It comes through the fire, and the fire does not destroy the cold. It purifies them. There is something inside you that pain is trying to awaken, not to punish you, but to position you, not to bury you, but to birth something greater. You were destined for more than survival. You were called to impact, to carry, to build, to lead, but the weight of that calling required a preparation that comfort could never provide. So when it hurts, when you feel forgotten, when your strength runs dry, remember, purpose came first. Before the pain ever touched you, destiny had already claimed you. Before the enemy ever launched his attack, God had already written your victory. Don't let the pain speak louder than the promise. Don't let temporary pressure cause you to forget eternal intention. If it's pressing, it's producing. If it's heavy, it's holy. Your tears are not signs of weakness. They are signs of process. Heaven has not gone silent. It's working in the dark, shaping what eyes have not yet seen. The crushing may feel like the end, but it's actually the evidence that something precious is being drawn out of you. Oil only flows when the olive is pressed, and you are being prepared to pour. The power of rising is not found in the perfection of the moment, but in the decision to stand when everything around you says stay down. Rising isn't always loud. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's silent. Sometimes it's as simple as putting one foot in front of the other when your heart feels heavy and your strength is gone. But in the eyes of heaven, that simple act of getting back up carries eternal weight. To rise is to say, I refuse to let what happened to me define what comes next. It is not denial of pain, but defiance in the face of it. Rising does not mean you've figured everything out. It means you've chosen not to stay where you were dropped. It's the quiet courage of a soul that knows it was made for more. There's a power that comes when you rise, not in your own strength, but with the knowledge that you're not rising alone. Each time you get back up, you align yourself with divine momentum. Each time you say, I will try again, you echo the persistence of eternity itself. The world may not see it, they may not celebrate it, but heaven records it. Rising changes things, not just around you, but within you. It awakens identity, it stirs faith, it ignites purpose. When you rise, you're not just reclaiming your place, you're reclaiming your vision, your calling, your voice. Even if your knees are shaking, even if your heart is still bruised, the act of standing carries a spiritual authority. Hell trembles when a wounded one refuses to stay down. You may have been knocked down by life, betrayed by people, or buried under disappointment. But if you still have breath, you still have the power to rise. And that rise, it sends a message. It tells every failure, every lie, every fear, you didn't win. It's not too late, not too broken, not too far gone. Every morning is an invitation. Every new moment is a doorway. And when you rise, when you stand up in faith, in defiance of everything that tried to keep you buried, you declare that the story is not over, because rising is not just what you do after the fall. It's how you tell the world that the fall wasn't final. The grind is holy, not because it feels divine, but because it is done with devotion when no one else is watching. It's in the unseen hours, the quiet places, the uncelebrated sacrifices, where the sacred work is taking place. Holiness is not always found in stained glass or soft worship music. Sometimes it's in the early morning alarm, in the steady hands preparing for another long day, in the faithful repetition of obedience. When you show up tired but still give your best, when you stay late to finish what you started, when you keep building, creating, and serving without applause. Heaven sees it. The mundane becomes sacred when it's done with a surrendered heart. The grind becomes worship when it's offered with love and excellence. There is no such thing as ordinary when God is involved in the work. We often wait for the miraculous, but the miracle is happening in the grind. In every unnoticed step, every small act of consistency, every time you choose discipline over ease, something eternal is being written. You are not just working a job or building a dream, you are tending to an altar. The altar of effort, of faithfulness, of calling. It may not feel spiritual, but it is, because what you are doing, when done in faith, is aligning with something eternal. God does not separate the sacred from the simple. He breathes on it all. He honors every unseen effort, every silent tear, every quiet decision to do the right thing when it costs you comfort. There is holiness in hustle when the heart is right. There is glory in the grind when it's anchored in purpose. Not perfection, but purpose. Every time you choose integrity when no one would know if you didn't, every time you keep showing up when quitting would be easier, you are ministering with your life. You don't need a stage to be anointed. You don't need a platform to be powerful. Sometimes the grind is the sermon. Sometimes your consistency is the testimony. And sometimes the sacred thing you're called to do is simply not give up. That's why the grind is holy. Because it shapes who you become. It carves out strength. It teaches you trust. It draws you closer to the God who is present not just in the miraculous moments, but in the everyday grind of becoming. You are not alone in the journey, even when it feels like silence surrounds you. Even when your prayers seem unanswered and your path feels deserted, you are not walking it alone. Loneliness may whisper that no one sees, no one understands, but that voice is a lie. Because from the moment you took your first trembling step toward purpose, heaven took notice. There has never been a day, not one, when you were truly by yourself. In the dark hours when your strength runs thin, when your soul is weary and the weight is heavy, there is one who walks beside you. He is not watching from a distance. He is in it with you, every step, every battle, every quiet cry. His presence is not always loud or obvious, but it is steady and it is near. You are not alone, even in the wilderness. God does some of his deepest work in hidden places. Just because you don't feel him doesn't mean he isn't there. Just because the room is silent doesn't mean heaven is asleep. The one who called you is also the one who sustains you. He does not abandon the journey he began. Others may have walked away. Some may not understand the fire in your bones, the dreams in your heart, the path you're committed to. But your journey was never dependent on the approval of people. It was birthed in the heart of God, and he, more than anyone, knows how to carry you through it. You may stumble, you may feel lost, you may question your worth along the way, but even then you are held. Even then you are surrounded. Angels have been assigned to your path. Grace covers the missteps. Mercy catches what you drop, and strength is given day by day, not in advance, but in the exact moment it's needed. When the road feels long and your spirit feels small, remember this: you're not carrying this alone. The burden, the calling, the dream, it's shared. The Creator who planted it in you walks beside you to protect it, to nurture it, to finish it. So don't let isolation convince you you've been forsaken. You are accompanied by the faithful. You are watched over by the unseen. And you are strengthened by a God who does not grow weary, even when you do. You are not alone. Not for 1 mile, not for 1 moment. Purpose over comfort means choosing what is eternal over what is easy. It means walking roads that challenge you instead of sitting in places that soothe you. Comfort tells you to stay where it's safe, where you won't be misunderstood, where the risks are small and the rewards are immediate. But purpose, real purpose, calls you out of the shallow and into the deep, into places where faith is required and convenience cannot follow. You weren't made to fit into a life of ease. There's something inside you, something divine, that refuses to settle, and that tension you feel, that pull between what's comfortable and what's calling you higher. That's not confusion, that's confirmation that there's more. Comfort may keep you still, but it won't fulfill you. It numbs the ache, but never satisfies the soul. Purpose asks for sacrifice. It asks you to keep going when you're tired, to speak truth when it's not popular, to stay faithful when results are slow. It doesn't always feel good, but it always grows you. The moments when you choose calling over convenience, obedience over opinion, and growth over gratification, those are the moments heaven writes in bold. You cannot pursue purpose and stay unchanged. It will stretch you. It will break some things off of you, pride, fear, laziness, doubt, and it will awaken what's been sleeping. But in that stretch, in that surrender, you will discover who you truly are. Purpose doesn't promise applause, but it guarantees impact. Comfort may give you the illusion of peace, but purpose gives you legacy. You weren't called to do what's easiest. You were called to do what matters. That's why the path isn't smooth. That's why the cost feels high. Because what you're carrying is holy, and holy things don't come cheap. So when the choice comes, and it will, between what feels good now and what bears fruit later, choose the narrow road. Choose the fire that refines. Choose the weight that strengthens. Choose the vision that demands more than what's convenient. Your destiny is too important to be delayed by comfort. There's work to do, lives to touch, light to carry. Choose purpose, even when it hurts, even when it's lonely, even when it's slow, because the price of comfort is smallness, and you were never made to live small. Faith fuels persistence because it sees beyond what the eyes can't yet confirm. It is the steady fire that keeps burning when every logical reason says to quit. Faith doesn't deny reality. It just refuses to be limited by it. It knows there's something greater at work, something unseen moving behind the curtain of your circumstances, and that belief gives you the strength to keep going when nothing makes sense. There will be days when effort feels wasted, when prayers echo back in silence, when doors close and your strength gives out. But faith whispers, keep going anyway. It's the courage to rise again, not because you feel strong, but because you trust the one who called you. When you walk by faith, persistence isn't based on how things look. It's rooted in who you know God to be, unchanging, faithful, always working. Faith turns delay into development. It turns trials into training. It reminds you that progress isn't always visible, but it's always happening. There's movement in your obedience. There's breakthrough in your consistency. And every time you choose to keep moving, when you could have stopped, you build spiritual momentum. Persistence doesn't mean you never feel tired. It doesn't mean the road won't be long. It simply means you refuse to let the present define the promise. Faith reaches into the future and pulls it into today. It says, I don't see it yet, but I believe it's coming. That belief becomes the fuel that drives you forward, step by step, even with tears in your eyes. You won't always feel inspired. You won't always hear the answers you want. But faith reminds you that the silence doesn't mean absence. The waiting isn't wasting, and the grind has glory. When it's anchored in trust, you keep showing up not just for the outcome, but out of obedience. Because deep down you know He didn't bring you this far to leave you now. Faith is the anchor that holds you steady in the storm and the fire that pushes you forward in the dry season. It lifts your head when you're weary. It tightens your grip when things slip, and it gives purpose to every stretch of the journey, even the ones that don't make sense yet. You persist not because it's easy, but because faith says it's worth it. Because you know who you've trusted, and He is never late, never wrong, never failing. Let your tears water your destiny, because even in your breaking, something sacred is being born. The tears you cry in secret are not signs of weakness. They are seeds. Every drop that falls carries pain, yes, but also surrender. And surrender is the soil where destiny grows. What you've walked through, what you've wept over, what you've had to release through trembling hands, it's not for nothing. In the kingdom, nothing is wasted, not even your tears. There's a kind of strength that only comes through sorrow. a depth that can only be found when your heart has been broken open and laid bare before God. And though you may not see it now, those nights when you've prayed with no answers, those moments when your knees hit the ground and you had no words left, those are the places where heaven leaned in closest. Where purpose was being formed quietly in the background, tears don't cancel your calling, they clarify it. They wash away the noise, the pride, the striving, until only the purest part of you remains, the part willing to go on even with scars. And it's that part, that surrendered part, that God uses most. Don't be ashamed of what broke you. What broke you is what softened you, and soft soil is where growth happens. The moments you thought would undo you are the very ones that are producing a deeper fire, a more rooted purpose, and a relentless resilience. You are not crying over nothing. Your tears are prophetic. They are watering something you cannot see yet. Keep moving, keep believing. Even if your strength feels gone, your tears are working in ways your hands cannot. They are nourishing the ground beneath your feet, preparing it to bear fruit in due time. What looks like grief now will bloom into purpose later. So let the tears fall if they must. Let them cleanse, let them soften, let them heal, but don't stop. Because while the world sees weakness in your weeping, heaven sees a warrior being refined. And destiny doesn't grow in dry places. It grows where something has been poured out. And you are being poured out for something far greater than what you've lost. You're an answer, not an accident. You weren't randomly placed on this earth, and your presence is not the result of chance. Long before anyone knew your name, you were known. Before you ever spoke a word, heaven had already whispered your purpose into existence. You carry solutions within you, answers to problems that only your voice, your hands, your heart can touch. You were born with intention, crafted with care, and called with power. There may have been moments in your life when you felt unseen, overlooked, or misunderstood. Moments that tried to convince you that you were just passing through, just trying to survive. But don't confuse pain with purposelessness. Even the hard places have been shaping you, refining the answer inside you. Every trial, every delay, every moment of silence was part of a divine preparation for what you were sent to solve. You are not here to blend in. You are not here to echo someone else's path. You are a voice, not an echo, a light, not a shadow. You were sent into this generation with a weight to carry, a truth to release, a love to give that only you can give. Your existence disrupts darkness. Your obedience shifts atmospheres. Your life matters far beyond what you can fully see right now. Even if your beginnings were broken, your presence is still purposeful. God doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't create fillers. He creates fire, starters hope, bearers warriors clothed in grace, and that's exactly what you are. You may not feel qualified, you may not feel ready, but you don't have to. Being the answer doesn't mean you have everything figured out. It just means you said yes when others stayed silent. The world is not waiting for perfection. It's waiting for presence, for courage, for truth, for someone who dares to rise with what they've been given and say, even if I'm trembling, I'll still show up. That's what changes things. That's what fulfills destiny. So stop shrinking. Stop apologizing for your voice, your dreams, your vision. You weren't placed here to fit in. You were placed here to break cycles, to bring healing, to carry hope. You are not an accident. You are a living answer to a need someone is praying for right now. He sees the effort, not just the outcome. While others may measure success by what you produce, what you finish, what you can prove, God sees the fight behind every step. He knows the cost of your yes, the weight behind your obedience, the tears you cried when no one was watching. You may not have the breakthrough yet. You may not see the fruit you've been praying for. But heaven has not missed the seeds you've been sowing.
You don't have to perform to be seen. You don't have to win to be loved. In a world that applauds the end result, God leans into the middle, to the trying, the pressing, the daily choice to keep going.
He sees the mornings you got up anyway, the nights you stayed faithful anyway, the days you kept showing up, even when your heart felt like quitting. That kind of effort echoes in eternity. Your worth isn't based on the numbers, the applause, the progress you can measure. Your worth is anchored in the faithfulness of your walk, and that faithfulness, though often invisible to others, is never invisible to Him. Every quiet decision to keep going when it would have been easier to stop is a victory in Heaven's eyes. Every unseen act of love, every hidden sacrifice, every internal battle you chose to fight with grace, it all matters. Sometimes you won't see results right away. Sometimes you'll wonder if the sacrifice is worth it, if the time you're giving, the energy you're pouring out is making a difference. But the kingdom doesn't run on immediate returns. It runs on eternal faithfulness. God sees the root system long before the bloom. He honors the process, not just the product. Don't despise the slow days.
Don't belittle the small wins. Don't let the lack of applause convince you your work is in vain. You are not falling behind. You are being built, and your quiet perseverance is preaching a louder sermon than you know. The effort you think no one notices is a fragrance rising to heaven. He sees it all, the hesitation you overcame, the fear you pressed through, the moments you chose integrity when compromise was easier.
None of it is wasted. None of it goes unseen. You don't have to arrive to be recognized. You just have to be faithful with what's in your hands, because He's not just looking for outcomes. He's watching hearts.
And yours is beautiful in motion. The grind is where glory is born, not in the spotlight, not in the applause, but in the unseen, uncelebrated moments where you choose to keep going. It's in the early mornings when no one is watching, in the quiet sacrifices that no one claps for, in the faithful steps taken without recognition. That's where greatness is forged, not in ease, but in endurance.
Not in glamour, but in grit. There is something sacred about pushing through when you have every reason to stop, something powerful about refusing to let delay define you or discouragement derail you.
The grind humbles you, molds you, refines you. It tears down the parts of you that want shortcuts and builds the parts of you that can carry weight. Glory isn't just revealed in victory, it is revealed in perseverance. It's born in the moments you decide again and again to show up with everything you've got, even when it feels like nothing's changing. The grind strips away the superficial and reveals the eternal.
It teaches you to work from your identity, not for it, to trust the process when the outcome is uncertain, to keep your hands steady even when your heart is trembling. This is where character is formed. This is where legacy begins, because anyone can start, but only the grounded finish, the ones who stay in the grind, who sow in tears, who labor in silence, who serve with no spotlight. These are the ones heaven calls faithful.
They're the ones who carry glory not because they chased it, but because they were found faithful with the grind that birthed it. And there is a kind of authority that only comes through process. There is a kind of anointing that only falls on those who didn't give up when everything told them to. Glory isn't a moment, it's a journey, it's the weight you carry after the pressing, it's the beauty that rises out of the ashes, it's the strength that grows in secret, in stillness, in repetition. The grind may not always feel glorious, but make no mistake, it is holy. Because in that space of unseen effort, God is working, shaping, and preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. So stay in it. Stay faithful, stay consistent. Because the grind you endure today is birthing the glory you'll walk in tomorrow. And so, let this truth echo deep within you. The grind is not your punishment. It is your preparation. It is the proving ground of your purpose, the furnace where greatness is formed, the altar where ordinary meets divine. Every drop of sweat, every tear shed in silence, every step you take when no one is cheering, it all matters. You are not just enduring, you are evolving. You are not just pressing through, you are rising up. Glory is not coming later. It is being born now in the discipline, in the struggle, in the choice to keep showing up. So stand tall in the process. Don't curse the grind. Consecrate it. For in your faithful pursuit, heaven is writing a story only you can live. Keep moving, keep believing, keep building, because you are not just working toward destiny. You are walking in it. And the grind, it's not just where glory is born. It's where you become unstoppable.